Gravity Falls has surpassed all expectations when it first came out. I remember when I was a kid watching it for the first time 12 years ago, I didn't expect it to be deep. I didn't expect it to contain so many mysteries, and at the time, I didn't expect it to rival great shows such as Adventure Time and Regular Show. But it did. Recently, after 12 years of it releasing, I got to rewatch Gravity Falls again, and it's honestly way better than I remember it. It was truly a series way ahead of its time, and in this video, I'd want to talk about it, all the way to how great the character designs are, to all the hidden lore and mysteries in this quote-unquote children's show. Before delving in further with the other intricacies of Gravity Falls, I'll provide a brief history and summary of the story for those of you who forgot about it. Gravity Falls was created by Alex Hirsch and premiered back on June 15, 2012. It follows Dipper and Mabel, which is based loosely from Alex himself and his twin sister Ariel, as they uncover the mysteries of Gravity Falls after Dipper finds a journal in the woods. Each episode, they encounter different kinds of monsters and whatnot. When watching the show for the first time, it doesn't seem that deep. Two twins finding out weird stuff about the place they spend their summer vacation in. Every episode, they fight weird beings and monsters, and that's it. When you say it that way, it sounds repetitive and understandably boring. But what separates this show from the rest of the cartoons back in the day is the attention to detail it has with the characters, the Easter eggs, and the overall progression of the show at the time, considering this is advertised as a kids show. With that being said, I really do believe that Gravity Falls was a one-of-a-kind show and way ahead of its time. Expressiveness, cohesiveness, and development is what makes a good character stand out from not-so-good ones. In Gravity Falls, Alex Hirsch does so well in creating characters that make you feel for them and resonate with each of their own personalities. For the sake of the time, in this video, I'll discuss the main characters only, namely Dipper, Mabel, Stan, Soos, Wendy, and finally Bill. Dipper's design reflects his adventurous and curious nature, symbolized by the pine tree on his hat, which represents his connection to the mysteries of Gravity Falls and his role as a natural explorer. Throughout the series, Dipper grows from a curious and somewhat insecure boy into a more confident and brave young man. His adventures push him to confront various fears and insecurities, particularly his desire to be seen as a mature and capable person. Dipper's quest for knowledge often puts him in dangerous situations, but it also leads to significant personal growth. He learns to trust himself and his instincts, becoming more self-reliant. By the end of the series, Dipper developed a deeper understanding of himself and his strengths with full confidence. When I watched Gravity Falls back in 2012, I really liked Dipper and he was my favorite character. I guess it's because I resonate with him a lot. Dipper taught us to embrace curiosity and knowledge. His adventures remind us that it's okay to question the world around us and that learning is a lifelong journey. As someone who grew up with a sibling, his bond with his twin sister Mabel underscores the value of family and relationships. Despite their differences and occasional disagreements, Dipper and Mabel share a deep bond and always support each other no matter what. Mabel is characterized by her colorful sweaters, braces, and expressive face. Her design highlights her fun-loving, creative, and optimistic personality. The constant change in her sweaters also symbolizes her dynamic nature and honestly shows just how much fun she is. Throughout the series, although she retains her positive outlook in life, she learns to deal with the disappointments and the complexity of relationships. Her journey is about balancing her desire for fun with the realities of growing up. Mabel's interaction with her friends and brother are central to her development, teaching her about loyalty, responsibility, and self-acceptance. By the end of the show, Mabel learns to confront change and accepts the inevitability of growing up, all while maintaining her unique charm and optimism. I think it's important to see how her character develops, and when watching the show as kids, it often goes over our heads. Mabel from the start of the show is portrayed as somewhat naive and overly optimistic, sometimes to the point of ignoring potential dangers. However, as the series progresses, she learns to recognize and address the complexities of growing up. Mabel's realization that summer will eventually end and that she and Dipper will have to face changes is an important moment in her development. This growth is marked by her ability to accept change and understand that growing up is a part of life, even if it means leaving behind the comfort of childhood. As a young kid watching the show and never wanting to grow up and wanting summer to last forever with your best friend and brother, Mabel shows us that it's okay. Life gets in the way and all you can do is always be optimistic and positive. Stanley's design with his fez, glasses, and gruff appearance reflects his mysterious and rugged personality. The fez and his preference for suits hints at his old era, matching his old school con artist persona. He's also introduced as someone who loves money and would often scam people for theirs. However, Stan's character is gradually revealed to have more depth than just greed, including a hidden past and a deep love for his own family. His backstory, involving his strained relationship with his twin brother Ford and his efforts to protect the kids, adds layers to a character who seems shallow to begin with. His actions and sacrifices, particularly his decision to erase his memory to save the world, shows his true heroism and love for his family. Growing up, Stan was one of my favorite characters simply because I found him funny with his subtle and sometimes dirty jokes. He was one of the most entertaining characters, and before season 1 ended, knowing all the theories revolving around him with his secret basement behind the vending machine and his tattoo made his character even more special and mysterious for me. Wendy is often seen as a cool and laid-back teen, with her character design reflecting her connection with nature. Wendy's character development revolves around her moving from being the cool, older teenager to someone who opens up about her own insecurities and aspirations. Her relationship with Dipper highlights her nurturing side and helps her realize her own desires beyond being the cool girl. Wendy's experiences with the Pines family and the strange events in Gravity Falls push her to confront her own fears and uncertainties. By the end of the series, Wendy has matured and shown a deeper understanding of herself and her goals. Wendy's backstory adds layers to her character. She comes from a large family with several younger brothers, and her father, Manly Dan, is a stereotypical burly lumberjack. This upbringing in a rough environment has made Wendy tough and resourceful, yet she sometimes longs for more than what Gravity Falls offers. Her desire to break free from the constraints of her environment and find her own path is a recurring theme in the show. Her practical skills, like her ability to handle weapons and navigate the forest, prove invaluable in many of Dipper and Mabel's adventures. Soos is a one-of-a-kind character. He's designed as this man-child with a friendly and goofy personality, which makes him likable by the fans, often providing comic relief through his humorous observations and clumsy antics. Despite this, he is incredibly competent in his role as the handyman, demonstrating practical skills and a deep knowledge of the Mystery Shack's inner workings. A significant aspect in Soos' character is his relationship with the Pines family. He looks up to Grunkle Stan as a father figure, which is particularly important given his strained relationship with his own absentee father. This dynamic is explored in the episode Blendin's Game, where it is revealed that Soos' father abandoned him as a child, leading to feelings of inadequacy and longing for paternal approval. Grunkle Stan's mentorship and the affectionate bond Soos forms with Dipper and Mabel provides him with a sense of family and belonging that he deeply cherishes. His character arc sees him transitioning from the role of a subordinate to someone who takes charge, particularly highlighted when he eventually becomes the new manager of the Mystery Shack. This progression underscores his growth and confidence in self-worth, showcasing his ability to rise to challenges and embrace leadership roles. Bill Cipher is the perfect villain. Designed from the Illuminati Triangle, I suppose, he is the primary antagonist of the series. As a powerful interdimensional being, Bill's design is both simple and memorable. A yellow triangle with a single eye, a top hat, and a bow tie evoking the Eye of Providence. A key aspect of Bill's character is his ability to manipulate and deceive others. He exploits the desires and weaknesses of the characters he encounters, offering them seemingly beneficial deals that ultimately serve his own purposes. His interactions with characters like Dipper, Mabel, and Ford highlight his cunning and manipulative nature. For example, he tricks Dipper into giving up his physical body and deceives Ford into creating the portal that would later threaten the entire world. His desire to merge dimensions and spread chaos is driven by a fundamental disdain for order and stability. This anarchic worldview sets him apart from other villains in the series, making him a unique antagonist. What separates Gravity Falls from the other cartoons and shows back in the day is the numerous Easter eggs and hidden messages scattered throughout the series. It's actually what makes this show so special to me and the other fans. The fact that there were a lot of unanswered questions back in the day before Season 2 came out, and still to this day a lot of theories and mysteries 12 years later. I used to be so invested in the mysteries of Gravity Falls and all the hidden messages. For example, each time the intro ends you could hear someone whisper something, and when reversing this message you could use those as sort of clue to solve the hidden message in the end credit scene of each episode. I remember back in the day, a YouTuber by the name of Veilskibom, which I will link in the description below, would make all these sorts of theories speculating anything from Dipper's real name, Mabel's secret twin, or even Robbie's clone. Granted, these things might sound ridiculous right now and for the most part are just fun side theories, but these are what kept the community alive. This is what Gravity Falls is about. At the height of the series' popularity at around 2013 to 2014, many were already speculating who the author of the journals were. There were a lot of theories back in the day debating whether it was McGucket, Grunkle Stan, or his secret twin, which we later found out was the case. There was even a leaked picture of supposedly McGucket writing the journals, but this turned out to be false and just a prank from Alex Hirsch, the show's creator.
Halfway into the season maybe, somebody had cracked the theory that Stan had a twin brother. And Alex had seen this and was passing on, somebody's Tumblr was like, here's the big theory, I think that Stan is a twin brother. And Alex was like, oh no, we're gonna nip this in the bud. It was like all hands on deck, it was a big red alert and everybody came out of their offices. And he's like, okay, here's what we need to do. We need to figure out a counter narrative and we have to get it out there and we're gonna leak it. We're gonna pretend like it was somebody who's just walking through the halls. And so he had Joe Pitt draw up a picture of Old Man McGucket with 6 fingers on his hands.
Phil Rinda had designed McGucket with a cast on, and that was always kind of a question. It's like, where did he get the cast? What's that story? You know, how did he break his arm? Why is it always broken?
Another thing I really appreciate is the Gravity Falls hunt for the statue of Bill Cipher. Blame It on George made a detailed and amazing video about the manhunt to find the statue, and I'll link it down in the description below. But basically, long story short, Alex Hirsch and the rest of Gravity Falls crew hid the statue of Bill somewhere in Reedsport, Oregon. At the time, and even 10 years later, I was, and still am, really impressed by this because they were able to capture the mystery of Gravity Falls and translate it into a real-life manhunt for the statue.
Here we go.
The ending, consisting of 3 episodes, namely Weirdmageddon Part 1, 2, and 3, fully encapsulates what Gravity Falls is all about and all the mysteries finally being solved in an almost 2-hour-long series finale. In Weirdmageddon Part 1, Bill Cipher's plan becomes successful as he brings about the apocalypse in Gravity Falls, transforming the town into a chaotic and nightmarish landscape. Bill's dimension, filled with bizarre creatures which he calls his friends, merges with the town, resulting in a twisted, nightmarish reality where the laws of physics no longer apply. It's important to highlight that in Weirdmageddon Part 1, this is where we see Dipper's determination, as despite the overwhelming odds, Dipper remains determined to save Mabel and stop Bill.
But being a hero means fighting back even when it seems impossible. Will you follow me?
To the ends of the earth.
Good, because that's where we're heading.
In Weirdmageddon Part 2, Dipper, Wendy, and Soos manage to infiltrate Mabel's dream prison. Inside, they find themselves in Mabelland, a whimsical and surreal world that reflects Mabel's inner desires and fears, ruled entirely by her. This, in my opinion, is one of, if not the best episode of the series. I remember watching it for the first time and just feeling so emotional throughout the episode because this is where it shows Dipper and Mabel's loyalty and love for each other. Mabelland is a dream world filled with everything Mabel loves: unicorns, puppies, and generally endless fun. However, it also symbolizes her reluctance to face reality and grow up, a major theme in the series. Dipper and Mabel's relationship is tested as Dipper tries to convince Mabel to leave her fantasy and confront the real world. One of the most emotionally charged scenes in the episode is a conversation between Dipper and Mabel in the dream world's bubble prison. Dipper acknowledges Mabel's fears and validates her feelings, expressing his own concerns about the future. This exchange is a powerful depiction of empathy and understanding, highlighting the importance of communication and support in navigating life's transitions.
And my entire teens cooped up in a basement with a lab coat? How ridiculous is that? I don't know what's gonna happen in the future, but whatever it is, you don't have to fear because we'll do it together. I'm not taking Ford's apprenticeship. We've traveled to heck and back to get you, and we're going back together. Leave this fantasy world. Let's beat Bill and grow up together.
Mabel's decision to leave Mabelland marks a significant moment of personal growth. She chooses to face reality, despite her fears, and helps her brother against Bill. This decision underscores her maturity and the strength of her own character, showing that she is ready to face the challenges of growing up. Weirdmageddon Part 3 is a 40-minute series finale which encapsulates the show's blend of humor, adventure, and heartfelt moments, bringing the story and character arcs to a satisfying close. The climax of Gravity Falls is set in motion with the townspeople uniting to combat the chaos brought about by Bill Cipher. One of the more iconic and memorable scenes of the whole series is the building of the Mystery Shackatron, which is a giant robot built from parts of the Mystery Shack. As important as the mystery shack is, they were willing to break parts of it and willing to sacrifice it just to take Bill down. The battle between the Shackatron and Bill's friends is so memorable and honestly just one of the best scenes in the whole show.
Good pig.
Get him, Gobblewonker!
Oh, no, you don't!
It's also at this time we get to see the symbols in Bill's circle and the characters that each symbolize it. For the longest time ever since the show started, there were many theories about who the symbols actually pertain to. Notable ones being the llama, the ice, and gases, and in this episode we get to see the moment they all band together with the symbols. Finally, one of the most heart-wrenching moments in the series occurs when Grunkle Stan makes the ultimate sacrifice to defeat Bill Cipher. As Bill chases Dipper and Mabel, Stan and Ford make the plan to switch outfits to trick Bill into going into Stan's mine instead of Ford's. This moment filled me with so much emotion as Stan willingly sacrifices his memories and identity to save his own family and the town. This highlights his bravery and love for his family despite for the most part of the show, he is seen as someone who only cares about himself and money. The series ends with Gravity Falls returning back to normal and it wraps up with heartfelt farewells and reflection on the summer's events. Dipper and Mabel prepare to return home after their adventurous summer and they say goodbye to their friends and family, marking the end of an era. This farewell is filled with emotion as both of them reflect on how much they've grown and the bonds they've formed. Throughout the series, there has been some tension between Stan and his brother Ford. The sacrifice acts as a start for their reconciliation, with Ford acknowledging Stan's heroism. Their strained relationship comes full circle, emphasizing themes of forgiveness and familial bonds. The Weirdmageddon trilogy distinguishes itself from other cartoons endings of its time through its unique blend of emotional depth, complex themes, and narrative coherence. Unlike many animated series that often relies on episodic storytelling with isolated plots, Gravity Falls weaves a continuous and cohesive narrative that builds to a climactic and satisfying conclusion. It pushes the boundaries of what is typically expected in children's animation by integrating high stakes, significant character development, and mature themes such as identity, sacrifice, and the transition from childhood to adulthood. The episodes are marked by their intense emotional resonance, particularly in scenes like Stan's self-sacrifice and the heartfelt conversation between Dipper and Mabel.
Guess I was good for something after all.
Gravity Falls stands a testament to visionary storytelling in animation, firmly establishing itself as a show ahead of its time through several key aspects. One of the decisions I really liked by Alex Hirsch was to end the series after 2 seasons to ensure a satisfying conclusion. I can't imagine if there was a spin-off show to Gravity Falls or if Alex Hirsch continued the story after Dipper and Mabel leave for summer. Sure, it will give the fans what they want, which is more episodes. However, it will strip the show from how special it is. He was able to maintain a tight, cohesive storyline that built towards a climactic and fulfilling finale, avoiding the pitfalls of filler episodes and narrative dilution. Additionally, Gravity Falls broke new ground with its character-driven storytelling. Each character underwent significant development, particularly Dipper and Mabel, whose journeys were marked by growth, self-discovery, and the challenges of growing up. In essence, Gravity Falls was ahead of its time not only in its narrative ambition and emotional depth, but also in the way it respected its audience intelligence and engagement. Alex Hirsch's commitment to ending the series on a high note with a carefully crafted and satisfying conclusion ensured that Gravity Falls remains a benchmark for quality storytelling in animation, celebrated for its innovation, depth, and enduring impact to the community.